Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. At this time, I would like to call the September 14th, 2023 regular board meeting to order at 6:09 p.m. At this time, I would ask board member Joe Wigginton to lead us in the invocation.
Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, as we come before you with open hearts, open minds. We pray, God, that you'll bless this meeting tonight. Bless each and every one here and the families they represent. We ask you, oh God, that you direct us and lead us in the way we should go. Bless our evening. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I would ask that Dr. Travis Thomas lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, sure, thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. At this time, I'd like to thank and recognize our greeters for tonight's meeting. Corey Thompson, principal from JASPER Middle School, and Chris Wallace, our Chief Operations Officer. Gentlemen, thank you very much. The next item is approval of the agenda. Dr. Thomas, do we have any amendments to this agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please?
So moved.
Mr. Wigginton? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Lau? Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion is approved 5-0. The next item, Superintendent reports. I will turn the meeting over to Dr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Garton. At this time, we're going to hear from our Chief Financial Officer, Amy Smith. She's going to give us a brief financial update.
Losing your clicker. I found out tonight that we're not allowed to click for ourselves because we mess things up. So we appreciate Martha being on clicking duty over there. Our first report is our general fund update. The revenue collected through the end of August is 2.01% of our budgeted revenue, and the expenditures are 12.36% of the tentatively approved budget. Just remember, at this point, you're not seeing any numbers in those top few lines, or much money in those top few lines in the revenue. July and August taxes, when it comes to property taxes, are backed into the prior year, and that is state required entries that we have to do that way. A little bit of QBE has come in. All of these things, or not all, most of these things get backed in for July and August into the prior year per state rules and regs. So that's why you don't see a lot of money coming in yet, but it's coming. Consolidation of funds at this point, you'll see expenditures through the end of August. No transfers have been made. At this point in the year, there's quite a bit of activity getting the entitlements approved that are linked to these. So we have a process that's quite lengthy that we have to go through. We have a new federal programs director, and we're working very well on with her. She's doing a great job. Real pleased to have Anita Walker with us, working on that. And she has really jumped in neck deep, and I'm really pleased and doing quite well. But this process takes just a little bit longer, so hopefully by next month's meeting, you'll start to see those transfers. We just have an order of operations to go through, and the state drives that. So we are doing what we're supposed to. We're not behind on this, but it does take a few months to get together in the way the state wants it. As you see, we have no debt, yay. Always pleased to announce that. Capital outlay for the month of August, our SPLOST revenue was $786,264.42. We earned interest of $1,018.79. And expenditures totaled $149,482.45. That brings our SPLOST balance at the end of August to $12,641,457.78. special revenue, again, in this category. You know, it's slow going. This is our grants. We do have school food in this category, but we have collected 0.65% of our budgeted revenue and expended 13.53% of our budgeted expenditures. Do you have any questions? That's all I have right now.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to call up Mr. Chris Wallace. He's our Chief Operations Officer for a brief operations and construction update.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Board members, thanks for having me this evening. First of all, for maintenance facilities, just some news about a new piece of software that we're using. It's called 1-to-1 Plus, and it handles our maintenance tickets. And Dr. Shea is utilizing this as well for technology tickets, and we just got it implemented, and so far it's going really well. It gives us a lot of information and makes it easier to track. So we made that transition over with the people at the school, APs, principals, cafeteria managers. So going really well. A little bit of growing pains and learning curve, but we're making it through. And it gives the technicians ability out in the field. It has an app so they can check and out in the field make any communication or any changes to the the request that while they're out there. So that's really helpful. As far as construction, so a few things I wanted to point out. The Harmony Elementary Playground work is starting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Meeting the crew and the leader there to get going on that turf and drainage project there. So we're really excited about that. I know Miss Petty's really excited out there for that to get started and get completed, and it's going to really be nice. The athletics field house at the high school, we got word this week that the construction documents have been completed. There's a couple of remaining items, but those will be handed over to the construction manager by Wednesday of next week. And so that's what they need to bid the project. And my plan is to have that in front of you guys for a approval of a gross maximum price on at the November board meeting. So I'll be keeping you posted on that as we go along. I have October in there, but it's actually going to be November. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for them to process and get the bids back. So he promised me we would have a budget before then, so that'll be nice. I'll keep you guys updated. And then drag and dry paving, we put the request for proposal out like we had talked about, and the pre-bid meeting's tomorrow at 1 o'clock here. And so we'll see how that goes, who shows up to bid or who is interested. That is a required meeting, so we will know tomorrow who we have interested in doing that project for us. Gym floor refinishing, this is something that we typically do this time of year anyway, but we're going to do all the gyms, and that's 8 within our county. So we're going to be refinishing 7 of them, and we're going to be resurfacing or overhauling one. The old gym at the high school really needs it, and we'll go back with a water-based finish there and be a little easier to take care of, and it's really going to make that place a lot brighter. Gets a little dull over the years. The last one under construction, the high school renovation project. Ms. Thompson and I are going to be meeting with Henry Pinetta at Rowan Associates next week to talk about the kitchen remodel there that is part of that project, and some more things with the renovation over there that he and I will be discussing, because equipment's so far out. We got to get going on that to make sure we're ready to go by next summer. Ms. Thompson reports from school nutrition that our free and reduced percentage is over 60% now. And part of this is due by the Medicaid change that they made that automatically qualifies families. So that has really boosted our numbers. And they have a few students that they had the grace eligibility ended this week, so they've been working to track those down. And then, of course, National School Lunch Week coming up October 9th through the 13th. And we'll be talking more about that over the next couple weeks, and trying to make sure everybody knows and brings awareness to what's going on in school. Lunch World, they do a great job, and we appreciate what they do to make sure our kids are served every day. In my report, there's a school health update that Ms. Gail Smith provided for us to give you an update on the first month of school, of how they're dealing with things in the clinic, what they're seeing, and some information there. It's included in the report. And then lastly, transportation update. I wanted to let you know that the Safe Rider program that Mr. Harris implemented, that he had experience with, is fully implemented and going. Really excited about this, and I know as we go through the year, it's only going to get better and better, but to kind of give you an idea of what it's designed for, The main thing is a safe environment. I mean, we've got to create a safe environment for those kids. And then any kind of safe behaviors, there's accountability piece when there are problems on the bus. And not just routes, but if they go on a trip, whatever, if they're on our school bus, every kid needs to know how to follow the rules and know what the rules are and the expectations, and then having the parents back it up is important too, so that they know what's going on. So we notified the parents, gave them an idea of what the Safe Rider program is, and something new he rolled out, of course, this year with him being new. And then lastly, under the transportation, there's going to be on the consent agenda, an item for you guys to vote on for the purchase of school buses. Just want to give you a few details on that. The cost of the buses, of a single bus for 72 passenger for our specs, in other words, with our camera equipment and the way we have them spec'd out, is $140,072 per bus. So for a total of 7 buses, which is what we try to do each year, to try to keep our fleet updated 10-year fleet, is $980,504. We do receive $88,110 per bus in state bond money to help us with the cost, and then if you subtract that out, then the local share for 7 buses will be $363,734. And then also there is an opportunity to apply for some safety money to help pay for the camera systems, and Todd told me that usually about 40% of that money, if you were able to capture it, you can get about 40% of the cost of those items. But again, those items are included in our specs, so we can actually potentially get some more money out of that through a safety grant that's separate from the school safety grant. So I'm excited to see if we can get a few thousand back for each bus there with those items, and appreciate the work Mr. Harris is doing in that initiative. So any questions for me that I can answer?
Mr. Wallace, on the field house at the high school, do we have any goal now? I know we're still learning. Do we have any goal for a completion date on?
Yes, so my goal is August 1st move-in, to have them ready to go, because I really don't want to ask them to split up their season or get in the middle of the season and have to do that. Now, there's going to be some factors we can't control that may end up making that happen, but my goal is August 1st. That's kind of what we talked about, target date from the start, and the construction manager, architects, they didn't see any problem with that based on the timeline that we're into. Weather can, of course, affect that, but I think they felt pretty confident that they could overcome any challenges to get us in by that date. So excited for that. I know the football program is excited for that. That would be ideal. Get them moved over to summer, and they're ready to go before their first contest, official contest.
And also, any update on the DOT's project there, trying to drive?
Yes, so we haven't received, you're talking about payment?
Roundabout.
Oh, the roundabout for DOT. So I talked to the DOT this week. We didn't go over that directly. We're dealing with some signal issues down there. They kind of, when I asked them about it, they give me the same kind of context, which is there's a number generator. They have a project number, and it is on their list as a project to begin. And I'm sure things get prioritized above and beyond. So, I look back, this has been in the works for several years now, 7 or 8 years. So I hope they would give us some warning. I don't have an idea. I hope we would get some warning as to what's coming, like at least a few weeks to know, hey, we're about to start, mobilizing and implementing that project start date. So I will keep you guys posted if I get any more information, and I'll try to research that a little more. But they have the complete project laid out, big document that's out there that shows everything. And I think whenever it hits the top of their priority, they're gonna get going on it. But that is still the plan down there. But I would like to say the signal, since we've had that put in, has reduced the number of accidents at that intersection tremendously.
That's great.
And by tremendously, I mean, I don't think we've had one since then that's attributed to the signal down there. So really, really am glad we were able to get that done, and it's made a big difference, and it's made it safer. So, yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. At this time, I'm going to call up Carissa Parker. Carissa is our CTAE Director to talk about our CTAE local plan.
Good evening, Dr. Thomas and members of the board. So primarily I'm here tonight to speak about our FY24 CTAE local plan, mainly as it pertains to our state and federal grants. There are some activities that are mandated within the plan for us to be able to strengthen academic and technical skills of our students, provide experience in and understanding of business and industry, to expand the use of technology, to deliver relevant professional development to our instructors, and to evaluate how well the needs of the special populations are being met by our CTAE programs. Additionally, we can utilize these funds to help us initiate new CTA programs or to improve, expand, and modernize the existing CTAE programs. We need to be able to provide services and activities of sufficient size, scope, and quality for our school system to be able to link the high school career and tech and ag education programs with the post-secondary career and technical education programs, and to be able to prepare our special populations to be self-sufficient. This is a one-year funding application that began in the spring for Pickens County Schools. The first grant that we applied for is the Perkins Plus grant. It's also referred to as Perkins Plus Reserve. And for this school year, we've been awarded $12,270. This grant's designed to supplement resources of local schools in rural areas specifically. We'll use the funds from this grant to help us purchase end-of-pathway assessments, specifically the actual tests themselves. We'll use it to help with administration of the end-of-pathway assessments and to purchase study materials that will prepare our students to take these assessments and hopefully pass them. We also applied for the Perkins Program Improvement Grant and have been awarded $40,766 with this grant. It has to be budgeted for activities to improve and enhance CTA programs, so it cannot be used for any type of program maintenance. We'll use the funds from this grant to help with things to improve our CTA programs, like purchasing equipment and machinery for professional development for our teachers, and also to provide travel funds to get these teachers to the professional development opportunities. We also applied for the Agriculture Extended Day and Extended Year grants. And for this school year, we've been awarded, $21,524. In the area of Extended Day, this particular grant provides salary for 1 additional hour of work per day for our ag classroom teachers to be able to complete the activities in their program of work. And then for the Extended Year grant, we were awarded $18,126. And this grant provides salary for 40 additional work days for those agriculture classroom teachers, again, to support their programs of work. We also applied for the Young Farmer Grant. This year was the first time that we applied for the full grant. We were awarded in our grant award $19,673. However, that was alarming to us, and we discovered by communicating with the state program specialist, Stan Mitchell, that there was actually an error on the state's part when they calculated our grant funds. Apparently there was some type of formula mishap on the sheet that they use. So we actually should receive $81,127. It's been explained to me that they will include that additional funding in their cleanup budget in October, and they anticipate it to be approved in November. And so the Young Farmer Grant is a 70-30 split, which means that the state provides 70% of the grant to go toward the teacher's salary and benefits, and we as the local system are responsible for 30%. We also applied for the CTAE Extended Day Grant. and we're awarded $8,096 in this area. This supports 3 teachers and the work that they do with their career, technical, and student organizations, specifically CTAE, FBLA, and Skills USA. The CTAE supervision grant we applied for and have been awarded $14,438. This provides leadership for the CTAE programs that operate under an approved local plan, and all of the money from this grant has to go directly toward the CTAE director's salary. The CTAE Youth Apprenticeship Grant, we've been awarded $18,818. This has to be budgeted to support the youth apprenticeship program specifically, the coordinator's position, and the program overall. 85% of it has to go toward the coordinator's salary, but 15% of it could be used for supplies or travel. Just to give you a little bit of information about what these grants go to support, these are the different programs that we offer at the high school. I won't bore you by reading through the list because I think you can do that yourself, but besides just the different career clusters that we also offer the CTI program, work-based learning and youth apprenticeship, and we have some dual enrollment options that relate specifically to career and technical education. Just some numbers that I thought you might be interested to know. We have 14 instructors at the high school level. We have programs in 10 different career cluster areas. We offer 14 different pathways for a breakdown of 40 specific CTAE courses. The most requested pathway is culinary arts, and we could never, ever, ever provide culinary arts to all the students who would like to participate in that program. But it's interesting to note that the highest enrollment is actually in early childhood education, and that happens because that instructor is on extended day, and that allows her to serve 2 more segments of students. What is a pathway completer? In case you didn't know, to be considered a pathway completer in CTAE, you have to complete a sequence of 3 designated CTAE courses. And in FY23, we had a total of 296 pathway completers. Also, credentials of value, which is sort of a new term that is interchangeable with the term EOPA, which is end of pathway assessment. So once we have a pathway completer, we test that student through an end of pathway assessment, and that student, if they pass the EOPA, has the opportunity to earn what the state has designated as an industry recognized credential. So they could walk away with a credential that could be beneficial to them in terms of, building their resume and actually having some type of certification that should be recognized within the industry of that program. We are working to increase the number of students that earn a credential of value, and it's actually one of the goals in our PHS improvement plan. Last school year, we had 134 students who earned a credential of value. That concludes my presentation, but if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
I don't have a question. I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you in the CTAE program.
Thank you so much. And I also would like to take this opportunity to say on behalf of our students and our instructors how much we value the support of our local board with regard to career and technical and agriculture education, because without you, we could not provide these programs. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's outstanding. Those are the programs that we're putting kids in professional status year after year after year. Daniel, my compliments to you. I know how hard you worked on this. It's fantastic.
I think it's exciting too that we've got so many future educators you know, that pathway, that's the most, that's highest enrolled particular course. So that's exciting just for us as educators to see the future interest in that.
Definitely a nice pool.
That's right, that's right. At this time, we're going to turn it over to Corey Thompson is our middle school principal, Jasper Middle School. We're doing something different at this point in time. We're going to have, moving forward, at every board meeting, we'll have a different principal share information and give us an update about their school. So Corey's batting lead off for us, and we'll turn it over to Corey eventually.
I'm very glad that I was not up here when that broke. So I think now, Ms. Parker, that they will be clicking for everyone. Possibly. I don't know. So. But before we get started with that, I want to say, first of all, good evening, Dr. Thomas, board members, and everyone in attendance. So I want to say thank you for this opportunity. You know, in the 9 years I've been an administrator in Pickens County, I think this school year, the start of the year, has been among the most smooth we've had. And that's to be attributed to our board and everybody working in the schools at the district level. So thank you all for that. And thank you again for letting me speak about the great things happening at Jasper Middle School. Some of the great things. I know we're on a timeline tonight, but some of the great things we have going. So again, thank you so much. So my slideshow, I'm going to start with a slide that I always share with our upcoming 5th graders. When the 4th graders come to visit us in the spring, we talk to them about where the Eagles, Hawks, and Bulldogs become Dragons. You know, of course, if they participate in extracurriculars and sports, they're all Dragons from an early age. But as far as the school mascot of Dragons, JMS now is where the Dragon Nation begins. So I showed this slide to let them know and to honor the work that they've done in the elementary schools, as well as the work the elementary school staff have done to prepare them for that. And as I'm recognizing our schools and administrators, I want to say thank you to my peer group of principals, and I've got Dr. Rose Nelson here as well, my assistant principal this year. She's doing a fantastic job. So thank you, Dr. Nelson. Thank you guys for allowing her to come work with me. So she's doing great. The next slide, I've got the academic structure of Jasper Middle School. So, of course, we are the only 5th and 6th grade school in Pickens County now. I had our North Georgia RISA do some research for me a couple years ago, and they informed me we're one of the only 3 schools they could find with a configuration similar to us. Not identical, but similar. So what I tell the staff and people all the time, that makes Jasper Middle School top 3 in the state. So there we go. We've got that going. But as we've structured our school day, and I know last spring, you know, the decision was made to reduce to 6.5 hours for students, the way we did that at Jasper Middle School is now we still have 30 minutes for our thinking maps, remediation, and enrichment time for all grade levels and students, both grade levels and students. Our ELA, which includes reading and writing, is 85 minutes per day. Mathematics is 85 minutes per day. Science, 42. Social studies, 42. And the reason we have those core contents the way we do, a couple years ago, last year was the first year for 5th and 6th grade, where we divided science and social studies into one teacher only. Years prior, we had 3 85-minute blocks, but teachers had to prep for both science and social studies. And by splitting that, it's really helped the teachers. Now they're only preparing for one subject. And it's really helping the students because they know when they're in science class, they're focusing on science, not when are we going to transition into social studies as well. So when we did alleviate that 30 minutes, we protected our instructional time. So we looked at other areas that we can maintain our instructional minutes. And one way we did that is we looked at our other contents there. You can see 5th grade now. We went from 2 connections in 5th grade down to 1 60-minute camp, which is what the kids are familiar with coming from the elementary school level. So we've just carried that over, and the state does require recess for all 5th graders, which is fantastic, so we've also included that. So the 5th graders have 80 minutes of non-instructional class or recess, and in 6th grade, as they are transitioning to junior high next year, they still get the 2 40-minute connection classes. So their formal recess time is combined within their connections. So they still are offered 2 connections classes per day. So what we see as Jasper Middle School, the roles we have for Jasper Middle School, the number one is to serve as a bridge between the elementary years and the traditional middle school years. So the 7th and 8th grade now for us at the junior high level. We are merging all Pickens County students together now in 5th grade, rather than ninth grade when we had our 2 traditional middle schools. We're providing exposure to many pathways and interests, just like Ms. Parker had told us about. We're starting in 5th and 6th grade explaining some of these things to our students so they can build interest as they move forward through their educational careers. We do that through the Camping Connections, and we do 1 club day per month where kids select a club to participate in. And we have some partnerships with that. 4-H comes in. We also offer 4-H to our 5th graders. And then partnership with the Sheriff's Department, we have champs for all 5th graders as well. We want to garner more independence in our students as they continue to get older. Provide activities and lessons to engage all learners to promote learning and growth. And provide examples and instruction in all content and behaviors to lead to more productive and respectful members of society as a whole. Now, after speaking about the roles and looking at the belief of the district for continuous improvement, we also feel at Jasper Middle School continuous improvement for everyone is important. So within our school improvement plan, we have 2 major goals. The first is to increase the percentage of students scoring level 3 and 4 on the milestones by 3% in all content areas during each school year. When I met with the team last year, the entire staff, the leadership team, the teachers thought it was important we look at not just the historical grade level information, but also the cohort data. So that means our 4th grade numbers from 4th grade into 5th grade, and from 5th grade into 6th grade. But as we report to the state, and the federal government for the Title I status, we do have the historical grade level, and that's what I've included here. So we want to increase 3% in all areas. So last year, our 5th graders scored 33% proficient and above. That's 3s and 4s. This year, we're aiming for 36 at least. In 5th grade math, from 32 to 35. 5th grade science, from 31 to 34. In 6th grade ELA, from 36 to 39. And 6th grade math, from 32 to 35. I will say on the previous slide when I talked about the breakdown for science and social studies, last year in 5th grade, by dividing those teachers so they only have 1 prep, we did increase the levels of 3s and 4s in 5th grade science by 9%. So we had a drastic improvement last year, so we're excited to see that continue. Our second goal in our school improvement plan deals more with the behavior and discipline within the school. So the way this goal has been written for this year, and this was a lot of debate, is we had written the goal for years prior that we wanted to reduce the number of referrals by 3%. But what I was finding and what I was hearing from the teachers and the staff is by writing the goal that way, it could almost skew the data because non-reporting of misbehavior could meet the goal, but it's not meeting the goal as far as the role of creating more society members and responsibility and respect for our students. So I worked with our climate specialist at RISA. We looked at what's actually in the state guidelines for the designated PBIS schools. So the way we've rewritten this goal is during the FY24 school year, at least 85% of students in each grade level will be Tier 1 for state reportable ODRs with fewer than 2 office discipline referrals. So ODRs, that stands for Office Discipline Referrals. So we want at least 85% of our kids to have fewer than 2. And I think we can definitely achieve that, and it is written more friendly in a way that the teachers don't feel, I'm not going to use the word pressure, but pressure to not report misbehavior because it might have an adverse respect to our goal. So some initiatives we have at JMS to meet our goals, which again are those school improvement goals there, is continuation of personalized learning in 6th grade math and the implementation of that model in all of our 5th grade math classes as well. So when Jasper Middle School, the current configuration opened in 2018-19, 2 of the teachers, Tammy Duncan and Tom Kleinberg, came over from the old Jasper Middle School, where they had really, they didn't start this initiative. They took a lot of things they had learned from others to really implement a personalized learning model for math and have seen great success both at the old middle school and the current middle school. And we've expanded that a little gradually as the teachers have come on board. But this year I'm excited that all of our math teachers are following this model. And we have seen great growth through this method, so I'm excited for that. The next 2 bullet points, I want to kind of point out first that when I mention continuous improvement, of course that means students, but also staff members. So we have our MTSS and PLC coach this year working in MTSS, that multi-tier system of supports, and the RTI process, but also our academic coach. And again, through the 30 minutes of extra time we have, our teachers are allowed to collaborate and meet once a week now to really work on ensuring that we have collaboration within the contents and to allow for vertical planning. And I have the MTSS coach and the academic coach really working with those teachers to make sure that we're all on the same page and the teachers have the support needed so that they can improve any pedagogy they need, which is going to translate into more learning and better performance for our kids as well. And then of course communication is a goal that we have this year. We want to have a better presence on social media. We want to reach more parents through that method, through email and telephone. It's hard as the kids get older. The parents sometimes don't reach out as much or have as many opportunities, but it's also one of those things where it's more intimidating because 6th grade math is tough. It's tough for the kids, it's tough for the adults. It's been a long time since I sat in the 6th grade math classroom, and I promise it's harder today than it was back then. So the parents sometimes do feel intimidated, so we want to make sure they feel welcome to reach out and ask any questions they have, or for us to present the information before questions do arise. Other focus we have is we want to, as far as the discipline and the behavior goal, we want to focus more on positive behaviors than negative. So this year, and we started this last year, but we continue, we have our monthly fire celebrations. So what we do there is the students with no office referrals and who are caught up on their work get to have a fire celebration during camp and connection time where they spend time with their peers. It's almost a free time. We've partnered with Kona Ice for them to come in so the kids can purchase Kona Ice. They don't have to. They still get free time if they don't. There are times we've had sponsors in the community purchase the Kona Ice for students to get to participate. So it's a really big incentive that they like and enjoy, and it's a way for us to honor and focus on their good behavior as well. This year we have the Dragon's Den in the cafeteria, so it's kind of modeled off out of the senior cafe at Pickens High School. But teachers will select at least 5 students from their classes at random, not at random, but not with a peer formula and rubric, to let them go sit in the Dragon's Den with their friends from other classrooms. And the kids are absolutely loving that. It's good that we can point out those positive things to give them what they see as a lot more freedom, and it's just sitting on the other side of a brick wall. We want to teach. And we also do student and staff shout-outs and recognition. So we have Students of the Week each week. We recognize on social media. We have Staff Member and Teachers of the Month. We've got great community partners who will offer $10 gift cards for our Staff Member of the Month. We've used some staff projects funds just to purchase small trinkets for the Teacher of the Month, and they're really excited and honored. And those are selected by the staff. So we send out the Google form. They nominate each other for that. For that honor. So teaching and learning through experiences. I mentioned earlier, it's been a while since I've been in 6th grade, and it's also been a while since I've thought back to my middle school days, but when I do, I don't think about my favorite days taking the milestones or the ITBS or anything. I don't think about my favorite days taking tests. When I think of school and my positive experiences, those are the hands-on things, the speakers we had, the experiences. So we're trying at Jasper Middle School to bring a lot of that back, to incorporate that within our students so they know learning can be fun. It's not always fun and it's not always easy, but we want to make sure they have those opportunities as well. And we have our walking field trip actually tomorrow for 5th graders. So because of the location of the school, we've partnered with the Rotary Club, the Daughters of the American Revolution, Judge Lindsay at the courthouse, the American Legion and the Sons of the American Legion to have veterans. So our 5th graders will travel from the school, walking of course, for the walking field trip to the old jail, which they love to see the old jail and has the Pickens County Museum. They'll see the monument across from the jail at the Quentin Kirby cabin. They're going to have the Daughters of the American Revolution in full period attire to talk about life in the old days. And then Judge Lindsay has a demonstration for them in the courthouse. And then the veterans down at Veterans Park will actually lead through different demonstrations and things to talk to the kids about patriotism. And it gives them a chance to see the town they live and the community they grow up in, which they otherwise may just drive through on a Saturday afternoon. So excited for those partnerships and the availability there. We have guest speakers come in, hands-on activities. And this year we've reduced our time on Chromebooks So in most classes, we've reduced to about 50% or less with the kids not on a device, just to incorporate more socialization and collaboration. That's not always digital. Now, of course, we do have some technology that's required, but at the same time, we want the kids to, living in a digital world is hard, and we just have to work on the skills that are non-digital as they grow up. And then we have a continuation of thinking map strategies across all curriculum areas in both grade levels to really work on the thought process and writing for our students. And we've seen massive gains. We piloted that last year and had some great success, and that a lot of the elementary schools did as well. So the fifth graders coming in, they're not starting from scratch. So that's been a great foundational thing, and we're excited to continue that. All right, at this time, any questions?
I think you've done an awesome job. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, thank you for the leadership you're providing at our middle school. And that's a difficult transition time for our kids, but thank you for providing the leadership you do there. So we're grateful for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a couple last comments I have personally. Just I want to mention that on Friday, September the 1st, we had a remote learning day for our students. Our teachers were in professional learning that day. The feedback that we received was very positive across the district. And especially at the elementary level, we had teachers from Harmony, Hill City, and Tate who met across their grade levels and their content area to discuss teaching and learning. And I think that's a great example of how we can utilize those days when the kids are not in school to become stronger as a district. There was a lot less of power in that collaboration on that day. And then I also want to mention this past Sunday, we had the music makers from Harmony Elementary. They sung the national anthem at the Rome Braves game. That is a hard thing to sing, the national anthem. But Canyon sent me a video of it, and they did a great job with it. Music Makers is a club at Harmony that consists of fourth graders. They meet after school with their club sponsor, music teacher, Clara Pantazopoulos. I think it's how I pronounce her name. And she has been implementing Music Makers for the past 7 years. So thank you, Ms. Petty, for organizing that for us. And then also, we've got listening tours scheduled starting in October and then wrapping up in November. Mr. Parker and I will be visiting every school during that time, meeting with teachers during their planning period to talk about what's going well in our district and what could be improved upon as an effort to grow us as a school district. So that's coming up in the next couple of months. And then lastly, not that I need any reminder here that we do have fall break next week. I think our folks in the audience are excited about that. And this person is still up here. So looking forward to fall break next week. And then we do have a work session coming up on October the 6th. That's a Friday, followed by a regularly scheduled board meeting on October the 12th. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Now to the action items portion of our meeting. We're going to try this in speed mode, folks. Keep up. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel report as presented?
I'll be.
Mrs. Finley. Do I hear a second? Second. Mr. Wigginton. Is there any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Personnel report is approved. The next item, probably one of the more important items on the agenda. May I have a motion for final approval of the 2023 millage rate, which is a reduction to 12.40 mills as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Mrs. Finley, do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Gibson. I will add that this went below the suggested rollback rate by about a $0.25 mil. Isn't that correct? All in favor? 5-0. The millage rate is set for next year. The next item, final approval of the fiscal year 24 budget as was presented in the final budget meeting at 4:30 this afternoon. May I have a motion to approve the budget as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Lau. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Gibson. Is there any discussion? think the budget's been discussed plenty. All in favor? The fiscal year 24 budget is approved. Next item is consent agenda. I don't have to, but I feel like I should explain just a couple of these items as I go through them, so bear with me. The consent agenda includes the approval of normal financial reports for the month, approval of the purchase of 7 Bluebird buses, and this goes back to an earlier purchase that was approved. Thomas was unable to fill the order in a timely fashion, so we are moving to Bluebird because we keep a 10-year fleet of safe new buses for our kids all the time. Approval of the student attendance policy is only one change from last year. Approval of local board training for the year, that's strictly for board members. We're required to have so many hours. Approval of the fantastic fiscal year 24 CTAE local plan. Approval of an out-of-state field trip for Pickens Junior High students. That is explained as, I think I'm getting them confused. Somebody help me out here. One is to Orlando and then the
Junior high school.
for the junior high, and the other one was
They often go to Chattanooga.
the Chattanooga trip. That's item G. Approval of an MOU with Dalton State. We like MOUs since we have so many people in the education training, then we can send them to post-secondary and we can get a look at them after they've almost finished. It gives us a good pool. The minutes from the 3 previous meetings from last month, some surplus items from Harmony, I believe they were all books. Do I have a motion to approve? And the books, excuse me, the books were damaged, not any other reason. They were strictly damaged, so they're being replaced. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Wigginton, do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll take Mr. Lau on that. Is there any discussion? I don't want to keep him, I just wanted that second.
Indeed.
All in favor? Next item, public participation. Dr. Thomas, have we received any requests for public participation at this point?
No, sir, we have not.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Next item is board comments.
I have a board comment.
Please comment.
Talking about junior high school field trip for band. And it is especially at our age, but I went to the junior high school football game Tuesday, and to see kids walk by and want to talk to a teacher is a tremendous thing. And they all walked by and they all wanted to talk to their jazz band director, which is Mr. Smith. Anytime you see kids gravitate to a teacher is always impressive. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And Miss Toller, by the way, who my niece absolutely loves, and she's the same. All the kids just want to talk about her and they just love her, and it always says a lot about the instructor. So thank you both.
Thank you.
I want to wish everybody a wonderful fall break, safe travels if you're going anywhere. We got a lot. I know you hear me say this a lot, but we've been going pretty quick with things for the last several months. There's a lot more good things coming. I asked on date on the field house because that's the first shoe to fall in a series of things that will give us more classroom space and additional stuff. I also, Dr. Thomas and I signed almost $4 million acceptance of state funds for renovation of the high school, and there's a plan being completed now to do a complete internal renovation of the high school, possibly some more classroom space, possibly more vocational space. We'll get that finalized. And I just want to thank every one of you for all your hard work and your efforts. It's getting noticed, and you know, my phone doesn't ring much, but when I run into people out there, they're like, oh, I love this, I love that, I love this new person, I love that new person. That's the kind of stuff we like to hear. Thank y'all very much.
Yes.
God bless you. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Let's give some. Do I hear a second? Mr. Pickens, is there any discussion? All in favor? 5-0, we're adjourned at 6:50.